Taurus, good evening. Welcome to my channel. My name is Catherine. I'm doing what I'm calling tonight a mixed tape simply because I want to do 3 messages in one using the same decks. We're going to do general, love, and some career and money messages. So I'm going to start with the Monology deck and pull one card out of that one. You get a personal issue reaches resolution. We're gonna draw a tarot right away. I mean, the card is self-explanatory, right? And until I get some tarot, I don't really know where to go with this, in the sense that it could point to different things. 3 cards have turned. They are the 8 of Wands, Death in reverse, and the Queen of Cups in reverse. Well, it feels the resolution could be communication, for one, for a situation that was stuck, that wasn't evolving at all, that you couldn't let go of, or that maybe this person couldn't let go of. But in this case, this is a general message for you. So I feel it concerns this Queen of Cups, but it doesn't have to be that you are stuck. It could be them. It almost feels like a love message, although I'm doing the general portion. The Oracle did point to a personal matter. Which it's a message for you anyway, general or not, it's going to be personal to you. Of course, that's the obvious thing. But the word personal makes me think that this is more up close and personal. That's why I'm pointing it out. Generally speaking, it's like having someone from the past come back here. That's what it feels like. I'm going to draw one card now, get an idea of what the message would be from this person. What is it that generally they're saying to you, really? How does that pertain to something that you need to know, generally speaking? Although it's up close and personal. That is super interesting. Silence. Why would they communicate that they don't want to speak? You see, that's the contradiction. You know, something that should end is not ending. So some communication that should exist is actually stopped, not occurring. It's the strangest thing, but I'm getting that this is the resolution. The resolution is actually silence. Because the Queen is in reverse. Matters of the heart get resolved through silence. I'm going to move on to the love message because it is pointing to sort of a kind of love message here. So I'm going to see, I just did Aries, and the general message was really working hand in hand with the general and the love portion were making sense together. They were working together. So I think it's the same energy here. Let's see. I'm going to draw again out of the Moonology deck. Oh, I can't believe this. I just shuffled. You get the same card. Okay, this is exactly what I mean about the two are tied. It's absolutely a love message across the board, no matter if it was general or not. It points to that particular situation. So let's draw tarot now. Two cards flipped. I'm going to draw a third one, but we have the Queen of Wands with the Nine of Wands in reverse. Let's see. And the Magician in reverse just flipped. The Queen of Wands is super fiery. She would be a very outgoing, extroverted person, which totally differs from the Queen of Cups that we just saw in your general. So it feels like two different people, actually. So interesting that both messages are more than tied in because you have the same oracle, yet it's a different person. In the case of the general, the death card was indicating something that was stagnant, and a huge paradox of wanting to communicate silence, which is absurd, and yet finding resolution in maybe saying that there should be no communication, something of the sort, or in the end, just silence in general. So something ending, or at least not sure if something would end, but the compromise or the resolution, the solution is silence. So it's a take it as you will, right? Here the Magician is in reverse, so this Queen, who's extroverted compared to the other one prior, is in a situation where it's not stagnant here, but the energy goes in different directions. I'm looking at the Nine of Wands in reverse. I said this for Aries, they also had in one of the portions, I think it was in love, which would be the same here. Since we're doing your love portion, Taurus, that the energy was about healing, yet this card is not healing or the healing per se. It was a matter of I think something about closing off something. This particular Queen, the two cards flipped together. I'm making I'm doing it on purpose to really interpret them together. They came out together. They come as one energy. It's like they have something to come to terms with, or something they need to close out for themselves as well, right? So you're reaching a resolution with two different people in different ways. But I want to say that in this particular case, for the person that you have in mind in terms of love, they have their own thing that they need to close out. It's scattering their energy a little bit. It's taking that away, not fully, but it is going in a different direction than going towards you necessarily. Not to say that they're not giving you attention. I think they are. They're very expressive. It's just something else that's I'm going to use this card to see maybe what's the other thing that they have on their mind. This card, a climax. It's the resolution. This word is the most important of your reading in both cases, right? Maybe you have Aries placement because they also were working towards a goal. This feels a little bit like the same thing. Going for a resolution, so making sure that you arrive somewhere. It feels also like a destination, not necessarily physical, but journeying, or it's like climbing, especially with this word here in your case. Climbing towards something. I want to say there's something to close off though. But it feels like a climb. We're going to do your love and career message. I wonder, for some reason, I'm thinking it's going to bleed in as well. It's interesting. Oh, this card really wants to come out. You see, a new romantic cycle begins. So as much as I want to segregate the love and the career message, you're getting a love message across the board, Taurus. In the case of Aries, it was a little bit like that. It was not as strong, but the messages were blending in. But they weren't like so obviously on the same theme of love. They had their, it was more like in love, partnering, so having a joint venture. So, but in your case, the Hangman came out in reverse. Stagnation is the same energy from the beginning. The reason I'm bringing up so many times the Aries reading is that it's quite similar. It's worth taking a look, even if you don't have any placements in Aries. You might be saying, why? You might get additional information that without being a particular astrological placement for you, the situations are so similar that you might get a different viewpoint that might shed light on your situation. It doesn't always have to be about an astrological placement. Let's get more tarot to explain the stagnation here. This one. I can't believe this. Temperance, it came out for Aries. In the career message as well. But this time you have it in upright. I'm telling you, forget about the signs. The readings are linked. The Four of Pentacles just turns. You see, there's holding back. So there was holding back in, I don't want to call it the general anymore, or the, because in your case it's all about love, you know, from one side, one end to the other. So the first portion was about wanting to communicate and then holding back in silence, or the sort of the confusing situation of, or I want to say contradictory situation of communicating that there shouldn't be any more communication. And then you had the Queen of Wands, a very expressive one, having their focus a little bit diverted. In both cases, there's like a barrier. So it's this Four of Pentacles energy here where there's a particular sensation here of it's like a veil. It feels like a you know, almost like just a window where you can see through, you can see very clearly, yet there's something physically separating two sides, two worlds, two realities, two people, two situations. But yet they're fully opened, right? This is what it feels like. Because Temperance is here. Temperance is the two vases, right? The water flows from one vase to the other. So it's the same idea that you can actually see something. So you might be communicating through your eyes, you know. So the non-verbal language is what I'm pointing at. Yet the situation is, I know the card is in reverse, but there's still stagnation on this card. There's no action. There's a slow awakening, or there's a slow movement of energy rising, definitely. In this case, because the Hangman is in reverse, the energy comes from the feet. So, and yet it is not fully grounded, because the Hangman is still, even in reverse, he's still tied to the tree and he's still hanging. So it's not a full blown grounded energy. So it could indicate that the romantic cycle begins first in one's head, right? In the imagination of the hangman. When he's deeply in thoughts, eyes closed or not. But when he's has slowed down activities to the point that it's almost no movement. And we also see that or sense that with the Four of Pentacles, because you need to, it's almost like closing the drapes, or, you know, closing the door of your room, just creating some kind of barrier. Yet the barrier exists as I want to say a window here, because there is some kind of communication, some kind of chemistry that is actually circulating, that is able to penetrate and get through that particular veil. Yet what's interesting is that both queens, so the Queen of Cups in reverse and the Queen of Wands, so different situations, right? Different energies as well, but different types of interaction with you, and for different reasons, I feel. Yet, it's almost like they're also communicating, the two of them. Because when the Queen of Wands was distracted, I feel maybe she was distracted by the Queen of Cups. Or at least giving her a piece of her attention. And vice versa. I think maybe the Queen of Cups was communicating to this person about the silence. So silently communicating through the glass, without words, a message relating to a new romantic cycle with you, Taurus. So position yourself how you want in that equation, but the person on your mind is your love interest, so the Queen of Wands energy. But there's a dialogue there, and I used the same word for the Aries reading. Sorry to bring that up again, but it's so very similar. I cannot but bring it up. What is that energy here? Courage. I think the Queen of Cups is telling the Queen of Wands about courage. So by that I mean, she is courageously telling her, so the Queen of Cups is courageously telling the Queen of Wands something about staying silent. Within a particular context, it doesn't mean that she will never speak again. It's within the cycle. of this new romantic cycle that is being created between the Queen of Wands and you, Taurus. So it's interesting that the messages are not necessarily directed at you per se. You might actually see it play out as well for yourself, because the window is open to everybody. And maybe the message is about taking heart or showing heart, right? Because the courage is, like, for me, like representative of having heart. The Leo or lion, well, the Leo qualities, so the heart being very generous as well. It's a beautiful reading because it's I'm hearing that the Queen of Wands is touched. I think that's why she actually took some time to direct her gaze towards the Queen of Cups in reverse. That's why she was a little bit distracted from putting all her energy just on you, Taurus. I feel it's very temporary, very momentary. Like it's in the moment, like it's not something that's going to last. It's just a quick glance. Anyways, I hope something resonated in the message for you, Taurus. I appreciate your time. Thank you for listening in. I'll see you soon. Please like and share the video, of course. Subscribe to the channel. Good night.